Hiya, welcome to the rest of the Shedcast episode. What were we on? 17 was it yesterday? And my phone rudely cut me off because it ran out of storage again. So I've been faffing with it and cleared loads of storage. I've reduced the quality of the video recording as well, so we'll see if that helps. And hopefully we're all sorted with tech issues. So welcome back. I didn't actually have much more to add to what I was talking about yesterday, but I just had to tell you about this week's weekend whips. So I will talk about my shawlography, but I'll just sort of talk about the other bits first so that you've got time. If you want to turn off, you can do. I've only done clue 1 though, so I haven't even looked at clue 2 yet, which is out today. But I'm looking at it literally line by line, so I couldn't tell you what clue 2 was about anyway. All I wanted to tell you is what's on my needles this week. And we actually have something that isn't shawlography. Let me just move my cup of tea, because tea is life. So this week's works in progress. Firstly, we've got shawlography, of course, but also I'm making something else. Now this is going to be a cowl. It looks fairly small at the moment because it's on 40 centimetre circular needle, but once it comes off the needles, it'll get bigger anyway. It's not that tight a gauge, but also then once it's washed and blocked, it'll probably grow a little bit, not too much. These yarns don't grow a huge amount, but they grow a little bit. So it is a cowl, and there is a proper reasoning behind this, because in here we have a ball of Milburn 4-ply. I like this colour, have you noticed? I've got my scissors, and we have some yarnlings. Now, if you've not seen them before, yarnlings are little balls of yarn. These ones are 4-ply, so they weigh 5 grams. And these are wound up by my other half, Dave. And the idea is that it allows you to sample lots of different colours and yarn bases all in one go. But also, it makes it really fun for doing Lucky Dip projects. So that's what this is. And what I'm doing is I'm alternating stripes of yarnlings and then the Black Magic Rose. Black Tulip. It's based on Black Magic Rose. So if I just stretch that a little bit, you can see, there you go, you can see the Black Tulip a bit better there. So yeah, it's just a nice little project. This will become a free pattern. And I'm going to do a double knit version of it as well, because I know that not everybody likes to use 4-ply. You know, if you've got arthritis or carpal tunnel or anything like that, it can feel quite difficult and quite painful to use thinner yarns and smaller needles. I think these, what are these? A 3.25. That's rubbing off. So double knit will just allow people a bit more flexibility. Hang on one sec. That's that bloody thing on the wall again. I'm not saying what it is because I'll turn it on. It's flashing at me. No idea what it means. I should like unplug it or something before I come on here, shouldn't I? Anyway, so Lucky Dip, yarnlings. We actually have a pair of fingerless mittens, a pattern for long fingerless mittens called Collingham, and they have narrow stripes as well, which I had designed in Milburn 4-ply, but actually you could definitely make those in the same manner. So I might name this the Collingham Cowl, maybe, because it actually does like go quite well with the fingerless mittens. So yeah, there'll be definitely a double knit version, and I'd like to do a crochet version as well. The crochet version it'll change because the amount of yarn used per stripe it's going to depend on the stitch that I use, obviously, but crochet generally uses more yarn, so I think it'll produce narrower stripes, and I haven't decided whether I'll do ribbing or not. We'll see, it's all part of the process. But anyway, so look out for this coming as a free pattern and a recipe on Instagram soon. So it's a lovely project actually, because you can just pick it up, whiz round, and it's really addictive because you don't know what colour you're going to be doing next. It's actually really addictive because you do your black tulip stripe, and then it's just kind of like, what am I going to cut with next? You know, and then knitting into it and seeing how it looks with the other colours. So I'm really enjoying that little knit, and it fits beautifully in this, doesn't it? I got this years ago at one of the shows from a lovely lady called Treadling Woman, and I've got her website up here now. It's treadlingwoman.co.uk, and this uses I don't know whether it's vintage actually or new. It might be vintage. What's the word? Deck chair fabric. So it stands upright really nicely. So that's just the right size for 15 yarnings and a ball of Milburn. And I can just pop my project in like that. There we go. So yeah, I'm just on the website now, and I'm looking at, if I go on Small Storage, it's a lovely website. She doesn't have these. Like I say, I did buy it like years ago, so I don't know if she even still makes these. But there are little triangle, pyramid bags. There are storage pouches. She's got all sorts. She has proper like crossbody bags, drawstring bags. There's all sorts. So do take a look. She's on Instagram as well, so that's Treadling Woman, and that's that. So that's my non-shawlography work in progress. This week's reading list hasn't changed from last week because I haven't done any reading whatsoever because I've been doing the shawlography. This week's tea of choice, which I have to share with you. This is still a bit hot, I think. It's still a bit hot. There'll come a moment when it's the perfect drinking temperature and it'll be gone, and then it'll be too cold and I'll just have to slurp the whole lot. Does anyone else find that? It has to be exactly the right temperature, and then I down the whole lot, and then I'm like, I want another cup of tea now. I popped into a tea shop in Harrogate recently because I was there for medical appointments, and I had two a few hours apart. So I had time to actually have a tiny little bit of a mooch. And I've been dying to go in for a while because I'd seen them on Instagram. So this is True Tea. I can't tell you which street it is in Harrogate, which road, but if you look them up there on Instagram and everything, Facebook, and I'm sure you'll find them. And so today's is this black tea with cranberry and pomegranate. It smells amazing. It tastes, you do get the flavour of the fruit, which is lovely, but it's not overpowering. It reminds me of Earl Grey, or maybe Lady Grey, probably Earl Grey, but nicer, if I'm honest. I also got a pouch of chocolate cookies, which is, a honeybush tea, and it's got like chocolate, tiny bit of chocolate and caramel in it, and that's absolutely delicious. It's a really nice treat in an evening. I like all my different flavoured teas, and yeah, I just like to mix them up, but generally black tea or fruit tea, but I do like to mix them up, and I do like trying new tea companies and stuff like that. So that's this week's tea of choice. And I'll tell you one other thing that I forgot to mention yesterday that we've been up to, going back to Yarnlings, is we have been producing an absolute ton of double knit Yarnlings. The 5-gram 4-ply Yarnlings always sell really well. But I wonder if people know that we have the double knit ones as well. Now these are 10 grams, because 5 grams of double knit is sort of a bit silly, isn't it, I think. So these are 10 grams. What you do find with Yarnlings is that the yardage can vary a little bit because they're done by weight. So if you get a yarn that's, say, baby alpaca, like this, or like the pink one that I'm knitting with here at the moment, that's Askham 4-ply, so that's baby alpaca and silk. They are much finer yarns. So firstly, the Yarnlings look much smaller, but they still weigh the same amount, and they might have a slightly different meterage or yardage. So if you're wondering about that, have a look at the proper product listings on the website for the specific yarn meterages, because some of them just vary slightly. So just be aware of that. But yes, these are our double knit Yarnlings. They're so satisfying. Now, honestly, it wasn't deliberate that we put them in a basket lined with my Magic Circles wrap. However, A, it looks pretty amazing, doesn't it? And B, I am now wondering if these circles, you could definitely make, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 circles if you used double knit Yarnlings for each of the colours. So I'm obviously gonna have to do some research and mess about with that and just see. So yeah, thoughts and ideas, they're just always whizzing around. I love these 2 greens together. And then that as well, that's Snow Leopard. Just that's a colourway that I just do occasionally. It's very satisfying though. And then we've got a bit of Sparkle. That's Silverdale double knit. Nice purple, proper purple. That's the Milburn double knit in Damson. So yeah, a lot of these are sort of orphaned skeins, or maybe they're skeins with 2 knots in, and I've found them and I don't really want to sell them if they've got 2 knots in or more. It's definitely if it's more, then that's unacceptable. So yeah, that's why they end up in the Yarnling pile. So yeah, that's another thing that we've been up to this week. There has been a lot. And now I think it's time to talk about shawlography. Hang on. Now is your time to turn off while I'm sipping my tea. If you don't want to see clue 1, then I would probably turn off now. Can you hear the snoring dog? She's fast asleep behind me. She's stopped now. Typical. Right, here's my shawlography. Okay, let me show you the whole shawl. Stretch that out properly. There we go, that's the whole shawl. And then if I show you, once it's blocked, you'll really see those colours come out. I like this bit. This bit kind of makes me think of stained glass windows. And yeah, there's my I-cord loops. I don't know if you'll be able to really notice particularly, but I did accidentally swap on this section. I accidentally swapped colours A and C. Excuse me. So I've actually got the plum coming up the front. Excuse me again. Coming up the front here. rather than the chestnut. But I absolutely love it. So, and then if I show you my colours. So colour, where are we? A is Pendle 4-ply in Plum. Colour B, that's the framing colour, isn't it? Is Oak with 4-ply in Hot Chocolate, which I'm really pleased with as a framing colour. Works really well, but it's got that bit of warmth to it. Colour C is Keld Fingering in Chestnut. D is also Keld in Woodland. Proper good green, that. And E is Coniston Fingering in Thunder. This is the one with the mohair in. So this one, when I'm knitting it up, it feels a bit thinner and finer compared to the others, which is weird because the Keld doesn't, and the Keld is also singles, but anyway, this one definitely feels finer. But I know from previous experience that it'll block out absolutely fine. I mean, you certainly wouldn't know to look at it. That's the Coniston there. So I could feel that it was finer and thinner when I was knitting with it, but other than that, you wouldn't know. So I am loving this project, right? I absolutely love this. So I've never done a mystery knit along before. I don't really know why, there's no particular reason, but I just haven't. I've never allowed myself the luxury of the time, I guess, to do it and to kind of just dive in. So I'm going for full and complete mystery. I'm not watching the videos and I'm not even reading ahead in the pattern. I'm literally just knitting line by line. So I have no idea whatsoever what it's going to look like. That does make it a bit difficult because it means I've got to avoid spoilers, and I don't get a huge amount of knitting time, although I am a fast knitter. So it does mean that I'm kind of a little bit under pressure maybe to knit as fast as I can, because then I don't have to worry about spoilers. So I've kind of made life difficult for myself in that respect, but it's worth it because I'm just loving just doing each line as it comes and being like, oh, that's what that looks like. It's like reading a novel from your favourite author, but without having seen the cover or read the blurb or anything. You've got absolutely no idea what the book's about or where it's going to go. That's what I think it's like. It's very, very cool. I've watched the video since finishing it. I skipped a lot of the knitting bits, but I've watched the video just so that I feel like I've seen it. So that was a lot of fun, and it was actually really inspiring to have a look as well. And I'm loving seeing everybody's project and seeing, all the different colour choices. They look amazing, don't they? So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Debbie and Claire are both doing it as well. Debbie's hers is, I'm trying to remember which colour she's got. Debbie's, when I last saw it, was only to here with the wedges, and her framing colour is Milburn 4-ply natural, so it's cream, and then in between she had things like waterfall and I think larkspur, so quite light fresh colours, like bluey sort of things, and it looks quite summery and quite almost beachy, I suppose. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. And then Claire's palette is basically like denim blues and sandy colours. So she's got a medium denim blue as the framing colour, and then she's got like a very dark navy, very pale silvery blue, which is Equinox, and then the two sandy colours, which she's yet to sort of come in, are, what was it? I think Whispering Grass, Rosedale 4-ply Whispering Grass, which is the light yellowy cream. It's kind of darker than this. This is Buttercream, Dulux Buttercream, my favourite. It's darker than this, and it got a bit more warmth to it, but not quite as strong as Sand. And then the darker one is Falling Leaves, which is much more of a a goldy colour, but again, it's not dark and it's not sort of rich, it's quite subtle. I'm just looking around to see if I've got anything that's like it. It's in the same colour family as this, but lighter. So think of these sort of colours with the denim blues, and that's Claire's, and just, we all love them so much. We're all enjoying it so much. And it's so nice because they come to work and they bring theirs with them. And then we can kind of, ooh, you know, over our knitting, and we can compare where we're up to and talk about how it's going. So that's absolutely lovely. If you're not in the Facebook group, there's quite a few of us in there that are doing it too. So if you know, haven't started yet and you're tempted or anything like that, then feel free to sort of say, you know, put your hand up and say, oh, I'm thinking of doing this, you know, and help with colours, help with the stitches, anything like that. It's really nice to kind of all be doing this thing together. I'm just enjoying it so much. I love it, just love it. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. I mean, who can say? I've absolutely no idea. So the Clue 2 is out today. I know that Stephen did say there's a lot of knitting in Clue 2. So apparently it's a big one. So we shall see. Am I busy next weekend? I'm fairly busy next weekend. So I'm not sure if I'll get Clue 2 done all that quickly, but we'll see. And I should try and avoid spoilers, but it's not the end of the world if I do see. So yeah, I'll let you know how that goes next week. And I'll do the same thing if I'm filming a Shedcast, and it will be great too, so hopefully I will. I will give you a heads up, and I'll give you plenty of time to switch off if you wanted to avoid spoilers. You can see the pictures of all 3 shawls. I've put them in both Dropbox and Google Drive as like publicly viewable, but I think both apps might require you to sign in, so I'm not sure. And I have now put them on Instagram too, so you can definitely find them on Instagram and Facebook if you do want to take a look. But I was just being really careful about not spoiling it for anyone, so I left it till yesterday to do that. So yeah, that's I think that actually is everything for this week. So thank you if you've come back to watch the rest of this, really appreciate it. The Kel Darren update is selling well, and I packed a load of orders this morning, so if more come in, then I'll pack them up and they'll be off to the post office on Monday morning. Bit complicated, but we can't use our local post office because they are just the worst imaginable, and we've witnessed them like abusing their own staff and other customers and stuff, so we don't use them. Also they refuse to take our drop and go, even though it says that they're meant to, but that's a whole nother story. So it means that we use other post offices, but that does mean that we need to wait till Monday, till Dave is driving past on his way to work. Otherwise it means driving into Harrogate on a Saturday morning, which is A, a nightmare, and B, I'm busy, so it'll be Monday when they go. But yeah, anyway, that was a very long-winded way of saying that, wasn't it? So hopefully see you next week. I'm definitely planning to record a Shedcast next week, but obviously best laid plans and all that, so we'll see. But yeah, thank you for watching again, and hopefully see you next week, and happy crafting. Bye.